How are you? I hope you are well, and thank you for clicking on this video. And if you have not done so yet, please do take the time to, at the very least, consider liking and perhaps subscribing if you have an interest in the topics that I have thus far presented on this channel, or if you just would like to follow along. I do oracle and tarot readings, and exchanging energy with me in the form of liking and sharing, or whatever way you wish to exchange energy with me, will help me provide more accurate readings with regards to your specific situation. Today I wanted to talk to you about the heart chakra. The heart chakra is an interesting one because we have three higher chakras, which is the crown, third eye, and the throat. Then we have lower three chakras, which I've discussed, that are the root, the sacral, and the solar. And the heart chakra tends to sit dead center, and it connects the higher three with the lower three. The way I see the heart chakra is it brings your spiritual aspect, your downloads, if you may, if you are receiving downloads, or essentially spirituality. It grounds it inside of you. It brings it down and connects it with the earth. And when it comes to the earthly matters, material matters, whatever you want to think of, it brings it higher up into the ethers or into the higher realms. Think of what happens to you when you first fall in love. How you are sort of lifted up into some like higher vibrational realm. You're on top of the world. Nobody can get you down when you're in love. That is sort of how the heart chakra functions. We live in times where a lot of people have no problem expressing their hate and vitriol towards each other. And a lot of this hate and vitriol that you're seeing flying around, whether you're seeing it in real time playing or whether you're seeing it online or whatever, wherever you're seeing it, it's probably projection. It's probably coming from humans who do not love themselves, who in fact loathe themselves and have deep-seated feelings of unworthiness. Unfortunately, we remain in a time period where the majority of humanity is still unconscious, and thus we are repeating patterns of abuse and abusing each other, when in fact what we should be doing is going within and healing ourselves. The Sanskrit name of the heart chakra is Anahata. Anahata, which means unstruck. It is represented by the color green. Such a pretty color. Such a comforting color and an attractive color. The organs that it governs are the heart, as well as the lungs and the rib cage, and it does extend into sort of upper limbs and, head and neck area. With regards to the gland that the heart chakra controls or governs, it is your thymus. Do you know what the thymus is? It's very interesting because when I went to medical school, I learned about specific parts of the body, and the thymus was one of them, that we were told it becomes redundant shortly after puberty. As you hit puberty, it becomes extremely redundant, and thus we don't talk about it and nobody cares about it unless it develops some sort of disease like cancer or pain, or it needs to be surgically removed for whatever reason. The thymus gland, the main role of it, I'm going to go a little bit into the medical aspect because that's part of what I do. I like connecting the chakra system with medicine, because allopathic medicine or Western medicine has completely shunned spirituality. which I don't understand, because we are spiritual beings in human form, and you can't just completely block that aspect out. The thymus, when you are in your mummy's belly, when you are in utero, the thymus' main function is to produce your T lymphocytes, which play a very, very, very important role in your immunity. These are the number of T lymphocytes that are produced by the thymus, especially during your childhood years, tends to be the number that you end up with for the rest of your life. And thus, the heart chakra also deals with your immune system and your lymphatic system, because it's also a lymph organ. Examples of other lymph organs are tonsils, spleen, as well as your appendix, believe it or not, and all of those play a role in your immune response. Do you find yourself frequently, like I was, getting tonsillitis, sore throat, strep throat, sinusitis? Do you find lung infection, pneumonia, coughing, lung issues, chest pain, heart problems? But I'll go into that later on. These are the main organs, as well as the gland, that are governed by the heart chakra. It does help in fighting against disease. I'd like to share something with you. Up until about 4 months ago, I had reached a point, and I was in a very unhealthy relationship, and my heart chakra was blocked, and I did not know. I thought I was doing all fine. I reached a point where I was getting sinus infection upon sinus infection upon sinus infection that required big gun antibiotics that ended me. It wasn't the only reason I ended up with a stomach ulcer, but it was one of the big reasons that I ended up with a stomach ulcer. As soon as I would finish the course of antibiotics, and I would be on them for 2 weeks, these are heavy-duty antibiotics that I would take orally for 2 weeks. As soon as I finished, within 3 days, I would relapse. I actually thought I was going to die from a sinus infection. As soon as the relationship that was extremely toxic that I was stuck in, because I had deep-seated feelings of unworthiness. I grew up in a family where I never heard the words "I love you" spoken to me by anyone in my family. There was a lot of expression of hate, especially physically, but the expressions of love I was not exposed to. And as such, I carried with me deep-seated feelings of self-hatred and self-loathing that resulted in me entering relationships that kept me, that with men that needed a broken human being to control, to manipulate, to project on, and to use. So as you can see, it's a little bit complex. Up until I pushed that relationship away and out of my life, I continued to suffer with repetitive sinus infections. Within about 4 weeks of ending that relationships, and I'm very connected with oracles. There's a few oracle decks that highly, like I receive messages, direct downloads through those oracles. I actually received a download that the medical issue, they didn't tell me what it was, but that there was a medical issue that I was struggling with that has been alleviated and lifted. I've been 4 months, no sinus infections, and absolutely no need for any type of antibiotics. And I do believe it is because I reached a point where I accepted who I am, and I pushed toxic humans and toxic relationships away from me, and I loved myself. So this is the chakra of not only love in the form of partnerships and relationships, it is also the chakra that is very, very focused on self-love and how you view yourself. The location of the heart chakra is in the mediastinum. It is right behind your sternum, right in front of your heart, which makes sense considering the organs that it governs, which are the heart, lungs, rib cage, as well as the arms. What are the attributes that are governed by the heart chakra? Love, sympathy, compassion, emotional balance. You will find yourself not a hate-filled human beings like the politicians that are everywhere. Yeah. Especially if you're in Canada, they love projecting their anger and hatred. Yes. Very, very imbalanced heart chakra there. You will also be able to display forgiveness towards other human beings, as well as balanced, healthy relationships. So when you have a balanced heart chakra, or you're living in harmony with your heart chakra, and it is not blocked, and it is not overactive meaning you're constantly needing. It's funny because in my part of the world, a lot of men feel the need to marry 1, 2, 3, and 4 women. So that's a very, very overactive. I mean, there's a lot of issues as well going on there, but that's an overactive heart chakra. I need this guy, I need this woman, I need this, I need him, I need her, I'm going to go cheat, I'm going to go do this, I'm going to betray this guy. Constant need for love. That's a very, very hyperactive and an imbalanced heart chakra. So the balanced heart chakra, what you're going to find is that you have a potential to not be involved in I guess the war mentality that I was talking about, that you see a lot of politicians currently engaging in, and a lot of the followers of those politicians are also engaged in war mentality. Do you find yourself in a relationship where you are constantly at war with the person that you should be making love with? So that is the war mentality, constantly seeking conflict. Rather than seeking harmony, love, and resolution. The other thing is you're going to have a healthy, intimate relationship. You're not going to have the awkwardness. I guess what's the term here? The way people feel about public display of affection. Ew, I don't like that. Ew. That's a very, very imbalanced heart chakra. I mean, I'm not going to tell you go slobber over the person that you love in public. But again, the display of affection is going to be balanced. You're also going to be a compassionate human being. And you're going to be able to display your compassion as opposed to the cold and calculated humans that are everywhere these days. You're also going to be able to be aware that you have the right to love. Not only do you have the right to love, but you have the right to be loved. I would like to remind you that if you are in a relationship where your significant other holds back from telling you that they love you, holds back from simply uttering those words, then that is a person with a very, very imbalanced heart chakra, and chances are they will never say those words to you. And this is probably a good time to get into the topic of conditional versus unconditional love. I would like to talk about that for a bit. Humans in general, and I didn't know this until very recently, we have been taught from a very, very young age, it doesn't matter where you descend from the east, from the west, from the north or south, we have been taught to love conditionally. What does that mean? Loving conditionally means that you have to do this in order for me to approve of you and be happy with you and sleep with you, and yeah. If you don't do this, I hate you and I don't really like you, and I'm going to withhold love from you. From a very, very young age, we are taught this from our family. I don't know how you were brought up, but the majority of humans, I believe, are stuck in patterns that they think is love, but in fact, it's not. It's very, very conditional. It's very, very based on how you act in order to please another human being. We are not taught to accept each other's differences and to place space between my difference and your difference, not attack it, and still accept you, and still be able to love you around that difference. Let me give you an example. You will also find that saying no is easy for you, and it's not a reactive no, and it's not a rigid no. It's just no. Maybe let's do this instead. There's no judgment being passed. You'll be able to be sympathetic towards other human beings, something that is also quite lacking these days, unless it has to, unless it's an act, unless it's this social justice warriorism, then everyone is sympathetic. You will be patient with yourself, and you will be patient with others, meaning you will allow yourself mistakes without judging yourself and getting angry with yourself, because again, this is related to self-worth. And once you're able to do this with yourself, you'll be easily able to do it with other human beings. Are you playful? How's your sense of play? Are you very, very serious in this life, like I was, up until about, I don't know, up until COVID hit? I was very, very serious. Once you break out of your ego, you realize that this shit show life that we're in is essentially a game. So you regain your sense of humor, you regain the inner child comes back. You want to be playful, and the people who obstruct that, you will understand that they are the ones that are blocked. You don't need to be a serious human being. Now, don't go around being silly when the situation requires some form of seriousness, but you have that sense of playfulness. You will also have the sense of unity with others, other beings, other animals, without unity devolving into formulating a cult, if you know what I'm talking about. So this is what you will present with if you have a balanced heart chakra and you're living in harmony with it. So what happens when you have an imbalanced heart chakra, and how does that even happen? I've talked about it a little bit, mainly through childhood. The first relationships that we develop in childhood are usually with our friends, in school, as well as our family and relatives. So that's highly influenced if there was any form of betrayal going on there, if there was any form of abuse, that will also affect it. And then moving on into becoming a young adult and into adulthood, relationships in general, marriages that break up, adultery, divorce, all of these things that we end up accumulating, these life events that happen to us that we attach ourselves to, and they become our story. Oh, he cheated on me. My first husband, he cheated on me. Oh my God. And he married this secretary and she was 20. And I'm angry. Yeah. So that's how you end up developing a blocked heart chakra. And who here has not been through the ringer in relationships? So you're going to find yourself very, very bitter, which I was. I was bitter. I was resentful. I was also extremely sensitive. You couldn't say a word to me. I'd cry, oh my God, he said this to me. Yeah. So that'll end once you balance your heart chakra, you won't be overtly sensitive and everyone has to walk on eggshells around you. If you are also excessively shy, especially around matters of romance or love, that will get resolved once you balance your heart chakra. Unresolved grief will also dissipate. Like I talked about, you had this horrible divorce, this man who betrayed you and whatever. I've even met women, oh my God, my husband left me for another man. Oh, I'm like, okay, all right, enough, done, move on. Let him live his life. You go on and live your life. Lesson learned. If we continue to be stuck in the past and you can't resolve all these emotions, you end up sinking into depression. So if you find yourself depressed, I'm not saying get off your depression meds. I'm not saying this is the reason for your depression. Continue your medications, continue your treatment. Begin balancing your chakras. If if any of the stuff I'm touching on, you're like, oh dear, this happened to me. Well, start balancing your heart chakra and let's see how your depression goes. And maybe if your depression lifts, talk to your doctor about getting off your antidepressants. It's not a life sentence. The other thing is antisocial. You'll find yourself antisocial, or again, if it's really, really imbalanced, you're going to find yourself way out there chasing everyone, going everywhere and wanting to be with everyone. You're also going to find that you're allowing other people's emotions to control your choices in this life. Something I did. Something I was guilty of in, I believe, every relationship I entered in my life. I would allow the man's judgment. I would allow the man's preferences and his, it's simply because I grew up in a patriarchal society. I just continued on that pattern. So pay attention to these things. What kind of relationships do you find yourself constantly stuck in? What kind of human beings are you constantly attracting and then complaining? Chances are the problem is not outside of you. And I did discuss all of this, heart issues, lung issues, repetitive infections like I was going through with endless. My sinus infections with the relationship that I just came out of became detrimental to my own well-being. With the end of that relationship, my sinus infections resolved, but again, I'm very intuitive, I'm very connected with spirit. And I know this for a fact because I was told. And it doesn't matter if you believe this or not. There's a reason people like me exist. So take it or leave it. That is what I have to present to you with regards to repetitive infections, with regards to your immune system and how it relates to your heart chakra, which governs the thymus gland, which is in front of your heart, behind your sternum, and it is the main gland that produces T lymphocytes in your childhood years and while you are in utero. Do you find yourself overtly critical of other human beings and intolerant of them? And you have no problem displaying this criticism and this intolerance? Do you feel that that is correct? How would you feel if that was done to you? I know social media is all about criticism and intolerance, but that's also an imbalance or a blockage in your heart chakra. You're also going to find yourself in very fake relationships, fake love, fake everything, kind of like the fake world that we live in. And you're going to let past wounds, past hurt, past traumas in love guide you. In the now, you're going to apply these wounds to now. Oh, you're doing this to me? Well, he did that to me, so you're doing the same. Meanwhile, the person in front of you is like, what? So yeah, applying past traumas to present and the future. That is essentially carrying your patterns along with you like luggage. Oh, this is my luggage. I was hurt. Okay. Yeah, so drop it. You're also going to find yourself very jealous. That was me. I'm not going to lie. Very, very jealous. And I believe in myself, and I believe in my womanhood, and I believe in my sexuality. So jealousy is a very, it lowers you. So beware of that. And it's also a very ugly characteristic. People don't like it. So that is an imbalance in your heart chakra. Also, possessiveness. Always wanting to be with this one person, and where did he go, and where did she go, and who's she talking to, and what's happening, and you saw a picture of them with this person. Again, I did, guilty. Honestly, I'm not going to sit here and tell you I didn't do any of this. I engaged in all of this rubbish, and it is truly rubbish, and this is not love. It's not. This is war. So how can you balance? Since we talked about how do you present with a balanced heart chakra and how do you present with an imbalanced heart chakra, let's talk about balancing it. Healing your heart chakra. Unconditional love. Find a way to learn about it. Find a way to read about it. Watch a YouTube video. Experience it. Make a list of the issues that you know you have in you that you make love conditional, and tick them off one by one as you break them down, and see how your relationships will change. You want to do things that you do things that make you happy. Do them. Don't allow other people's opinions, other people's emotions to stop you from engaging, or other people's judgments in things that make you happy. Being in a relationship with someone and engaging in activities that make you happy is fine. As long as you're not intentionally or knowingly engaging in them as they harm your partner. Don't do things that make you feel good at the expense of others. That's probably a better way to put it. If the thing you are doing is truly, not perceived, but truly harming the other person that you are in a relationship with, then that's not necessarily healing your heart chakra. Also, I'd like to share with you some positive affirmations. There's plenty. You can look around online. You can buy books about how to heal your heart, how to heal your heart chakra, and to balance it with affirmations. What I like to say to myself whenever I feel it, and it's become stuck in my head, right? It's one of those things. I always say, I am love. I only allow thoughts of love. I only speak out of love, and I only act with love. These are these are my affirmations. I didn't get them from anywhere. I came up with these, and I just keep saying them. If you keep saying this to yourself, again, this is neural programming, and it will eventually change your behavior. Do you find yourself on, let's say, dating websites where the person, or maybe perhaps even you, have put what it is you expect, what it is you want from the significant other that you want to be with? And there's this long, detailed list. I want them to hike. I want them to love outdoors. I want them to be fit. I prefer blue eyes. I want them to be atheist. God forbid anybody believes in, in anything different than what you believe in, perhaps. Then conflict arises and fear arises as well. Or perhaps you entered a little bit of a kerfuffle, a little fight, a little tiff with the person that you love, really, really love, and think that you can't live without, over some stupid stuff that you disagree on. And the fact that you disagreed on something made you feel less love towards them made you feel like, gosh, they lied to me. Or perhaps on the dating website where you have a list of all the things that you want and people can't meet them, people start lying to you because they want to be with you because you're gorgeous and amazing. And then when you go out with them and you discover that they perhaps lied a little bit and they don't really meet the criteria, you feel terrible and you dump them and you get angry at them. Although people will defend these actions are essentially wrong. When you are, let's say, have you ever watched those cooking competitions? Chef Ramsay or, I don't know, whatever. Master Chef or something. You will find a bunch of people from different backgrounds in a competition setting, which is highly, highly competitive. Everybody wants to win. But in a kitchen with all kinds of stuff. The kitchen has meat, it has chicken, it has fish, it has vegetables, fruit, maybe some other things, salt and pepper, maybe spicy spices. Would you go up to things that you don't like, or to the recipe of the person next to you and start destroying it? Because that's terrible. That's oh my God, you're using something spicy. That's horrible. That's awful. Oh my God, I hate Indian food, and you smash it and you destroy it. Or you go up to a fruit that you really don't like and you burn it. Is that how we behave as human beings? It's not. And it is no different in matters of the heart. When you have a balanced heart chakra and you have come to accept who you are and you know who you are and you're grounded in who you are, you will reflect this in your relationship towards others. You will reflect respect towards other human beings, even surrounding your differences. If the differences reach a point where they are unlivable, then you will simply be able to end the relationship without the drama, without the conflict, without the energy of hate. You might even remain friends, and perhaps down the road the relationship gets rekindled. Is that what you see happening around you in society these days? I can tell you that is absolutely not what is happening. Again, I'm going to give you an example of where I'm living. I live in Canada on the East Coast, and the divorce rate of parents of children in schools is between 80 to 90%. There is no more harmony in relationships. And I truly believe, and I live in the West. And I believe this is because we have lost our ability, perhaps we have never been even taught how to truly love one another unconditionally, respecting each other's differences, not just the differences of skin color, hair color, and eye color. And I realized I really went on a rant with this. So going back to presenting with a balanced heart chakra, you will have the ability to express easily your love to others. You're not going to go chase people around. Again, you're going to be balanced. But you won't have that shame. You won't have that block from verbalizing the word, I love you, from going and buying flowers, from going and buying something, from doing something nice for the person that you love without expecting anything in return. Not even a thank you. If they don't even say the word thank you, you will still be very, very happy. And you will still love them equally. You will not be disappointed. You will not demand thanks. You will not expect anything. You do it because you love them. You will also be able to forgive. Not only forgive others in whatever mistakes that they have done, because in the end, we are still human beings. In the end, we remain human. And I don't know if you watch reality TV shows. Oh, dear Lord. What was it? Something Island. I watch these things just to laugh, and then I'm like, okay, it's too much now. But Love Island. Love Island, yeah. You should see what happens when these kids, when somebody, gets angry with another. It's like they committed an honor, like a crime. It's as if they killed a member of their family. The inability to forgive is just shocking. And when you're incapable of giving other people the benefit of the doubt and forgiving and letting things go. Imagine what you do to your own self. Imagine the judgment that you pass on your own self and your own mistakes. How you put yourself down. This is all related to self-worth, by the way. Now, with regards to visualization or food, green is the color that we talked about for the heart chakra. This is a jade stone, so we'll talk about meditation. But also the heart chakra can be presented with pink. I chose green because it's easier to find green foods than it is to find pink foods. So green foods, essentially start eating them and eating them with the intention. Eating them with the intention that you're doing this for a specific reason, and that is to begin the healing process of your heart. Also drinking green tea. I drink green tea all the time, as well as anything made with love. Food that's made with love, as well as rosemary. Cook with rosemary. I love rosemary. With regards to meditation, if you're going to engage in meditation, this is the stone. This is the crystal. I keep calling them stones. This is jade, and I love it because it's shaped like a heart. So you can hold that, and I charge it. Look after your crystals. Yeah. With regards to the mudra is the lotus. That's the one I chose to present to you today. So the lotus mudra, if you're going to meditate, okay, and then the thumb and the baby finger stay together. The others split apart. The palms of your hands stay together, and that is it. You can go up, you can stay here and meditate. That is the lotus mudra. And we talked about the affirmations, and we talked about the crystal. The last thing I'll leave you with is the actual mantra, which is Yam. Yam. And when you are vibrating and saying Yam, push it towards the center of your chest. I hope this video wasn't too long, and I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed presenting it to you. Please leave your comments or any questions that you have in below. I'd love to hear from you. Everyone's so quiet on this channel. I'm not sure why. So hopefully I'll see you soon.